Hi, welcome back to week 2 of discussion section number 4 and 5 for Introduction to Linguistics. Today, I'm going to talk about some key concepts that were covered in this week. And in the second video, I'm going to give you a short tutorial on how to transcribe English words into International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. So for key concepts, we learned about consonants and vowels. Consonants can be categorized using 3 different criteria: voicing state, place of articulation, and manner of articulation. Voicing state also can be, in other words, it's laryngeal state. It's either voicing or voiceless. Place of articulation in English, we have 8 places of articulation. Manner of articulation, we learned 6 of them. There are 2 different additional phenomena we learned about consonants. One is syllabic consonants. Those are the consonants that are functioning like a vowel but by serving as a head of syllable. So in the English language, there are a few syllables that are lacking a vowel but having only consonants, and one of the consonants are acting like a vowel in that syllable. So like, for example, in a word like sir, it's only consists of 2 consonants, s and r, and the second consonant r is acting like a vowel. So the correct transcription of the word is this 2 letter with 1 diacritic, and this diacritic, a small vertical line at the bottom, right below the consonant alphabet, is meaning that it's syllabic consonants. So a word like sir, or bird, or dirty, there are this syllabic R's in it. In words like pickle, or funnel, or measle, you have syllabic L. And words like taken, hidden, or button, they have syllable N. Words like rhythm has a syllabic M. So in English, there are 4 different syllabic consonants: R, L, and M. Aspiration is another phenomenon we learned about consonants. It's a noticeable, very big puff of air that exits from the oral cavity. In English, we have voiceless stops like P, T, K, pa, and ta, and ka, that are highly aspirated, especially when it comes in the beginning of a word, when it comes in the onset of stressed syllable. You use a very small h on top of each alphabet to denote aspiration. So this is pa, and ta, and ka. On the other hand, if you have unaspirated consonants like ba, and da, and ga, these are for example, in languages like Spanish or Italian, they use a lot of unaspirated consonants. They don't use aspirated pa and ta, ka. For example, in Spanish, when you say tortillas or quesadilla, in Spanish you say tortilla or quesadilla. You don't say tortilla or quesadilla, because in Spanish you use unaspirated voiceless stops. So these are the difference between aspirated and unaspirated consonants. Or move on. We also learned about vowels. Vowels can be categorized using many different criteria. One is height of tongue. It can be either high, mid, or low. For backness of tongue, vowels can be front, central, or back vowel. Roundedness of lips. Vowels can be either rounded or unrounded. And also there's a tense lex distinction, like tense vowel and lex vowel. And in a word, syllables can be either stressed and unstressed. This is another important criteria to define vowels. For example, we're going to learn about stress later. So these are the key concepts of segments. When you hear a speech sound, it's continuous auditory sounds, but in phonetics, we divide those sounds into a sequence of segments, like S, E, G, M, blah, 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 blah. They can be either consonants or vowels. And there are phenomena that happen above these segments, which are called suprasegmentals. For example, there can be a long vowel or a short vowel. It's called a length of vowel. It's the amount of time it takes to say that given vowel. And it's not significant in English. So when I is a short vowel, I is a long vowel, or you can use a small colon that's like a triangular a little bit to denote this long vowel. So there's in English there's no difference between father and father, right? There's no difference in meaning, but in some languages they have this distinction. So that's one. And another, there is a length of consonant. There can be either short consonant or long consonant. In English, there's no distinction. It's not significant in English again. But in some languages, like Japanese, length of consonant matters. They distinguish meanings of words. For example, saka is a slope in Japanese. Saka. So with two Ks, there's no difference having one K or two Ks in English, but in Japanese, saka and saka, that's two different words. The second one means an author. And this long consonant is also called geminate. Another suprasegmental concept we learned is stress. Stress is perceptually related to the loudness or amplitude within a word. It plays a crucial role in English. For example, when you say a word like suspect, there are two ways of saying this word. One is suspect, the another is suspect. The underlined part is the stressed syllable. When you use this word as a verb, I suspected you. Someone suspects the other person. The stress falls in the second syllable. While when you use it as a noun, like the person we're suspecting is a suspect. So the syllable that is getting stress is the first one, suspect. So in the second example, the first syllable has a vowel, which is a mid-central vowel. We're going to learn about it later. But in word like suspect, this syllable loses its stress. So it's now transcribed as the stressless vowel, which is also called schwa. So this one will look like suspect, and the first one will looking like suspect. Did you get it? Just see the difference? So that's stress. It plays a crucial role in English, unlike length of vowel. Tone is perceptually related to relative pitch. So in English, there's no difference between like father, father, father. It's all the same word, father. But in some languages like Mandarin or Cantonese, tone can play a crucial role distinguishing different meanings of that word. I spent like half a year in China. I was learning Mandarin there. It's a funny story I want to share with. So I wanted to say a word. So this is a word to in Mandarin word to answer. So and the pronunciation of this is using phonetic alphabets. 答辩. And I was unaware of the tone of this word. I forgot. I learned it, but I forgot. So I said 大便 instead of 大便. And 大便 is a completely different word. It means poop. So in languages like Mandarin, words can have a completely different meaning when you change their tone within that word. So that's a funny story I have. It's a true story. And then there's a phenomenon called tone drift, down drift. It's a phenomenon where the like high tones in a sentence progressively decrease in terms of pitch within a sentence. That's a tonal downdrift phenomenon. And the last suprasegmental phenomenon what we learned was intonation. It's the use of pitch to convey meaning at the sentence or discourse level. So when you say a sentence like "this is it," you can say that "this is it" or "this is it." "This is it" is a question. "This is it" is a declarative sentence. There are two different intonations to read this sentence, and they have different meaning. The only that difference is distinguished by the intonation, which is a pitch contour within a sentence or discourse level. Okay, we'll move on to the consonant table. We learned 25 consonants. There are 8 different places of articulation, 6 different manners of articulation we learned in English language. There are more in other languages, but only these we learned in the lecture. Stop, fricative, and affricate can be make a cluster called obstruent, nasal, liquid, glide. They fall into a group called sonorant. There are 2 opposite concepts. For stops, we have 7 stops: pa and ba, ta and da, ka and ga, and uh-oh. And when there are 2 consonants in a single cell, the one on the left is voiceless, one on the right is voiced. For fricative, we have 9 fricatives. Fa and va are labiodental, tha and tha are dental, sa and za are alveolar, sha and ja are post-alveolar, and ha is glottal, and ha is on the left, so it's voiceless. And tha and tha, a lot of students were confused distinguishing these 2. They are both spelled th in English. The first one is voiceless. Words like thin, thick, thigh, path, breath, thorn. These are voiceless th sounds, voiceless dental fricative. The sound, this is a voiced counterpart of it, are the ones you found in they, them, their, bother, feather. Those th sounds, or those, are the ones that are voiced. So try not to get confused with these. Sha sounds, it's like a longer version of S, or it looks like an integral in math. Ja sound, are used in words like pleasure, usual, Asian, genre. Those kind of words have this voice post-alveolar sounds. And there are only 2 affricates, cha and ja. Cha are the ones that are usually spelled ch. Ja is usually spelled with j, g, or dg. Those kind of spelling are this voiced post-alveolar affricate sound, ja. It's a combination of da and ja sound. And there are 3 nasals, ma and na and as in singing. They are always voiced, so they are on the right side of the cell. There are 2 liquids. Liquids are all alveolar. They're either la or ra. They're both liquids and they have same place and manner of articulation. One of them is rhotic. English R sound, ra is rhotic. La sound, they are not non-rhotic. So there are 2 alveolar liquids, 2 voice alveolar liquids in American English. One of them is rhotic, another is non-rhotic. And for glide, we have ya, palatal ya, and wa and hua in velar. Ya. So in English spelling, you usually use Y sound, like as in yellow, yawn, yacht. Those words have this pronunciation. In phonetic alphabet, you use J, which is actually called yod. Um, Yod is the name of this consonant, um, but try not to get confused with this. Its spelling Y. So it's a palatal glide. Glide is a consonant you make using your tongue gliding in the opposite direction from the the place of articulation. So, for example, when you're saying palatal glide, um, tongue is moving away from palate. Palate is a very hard part of the in the ceiling of your mouth. So so the tongue is moving away from the ceiling of your mouth of oral cavity, and it makes sound like ya, a ya. And wa sound as in way or wane, wait, is a voiced feeler glide. There's a voiceless version of it. Most of us don't use it, but British people or some people in using Upper Eastern dialect has this hua sound as in when, which, white. This is a voiceless version. Note that this is not just velar; they're co-articulated using two parts, lips and velum. So they're sometimes called labial velar. And you can see here, it's also represented in this cell within a parenthesis. So these are all 25 English consonants. And this is the vowel table you learned during the lecture. There are high, mid, low vowels and front, central, back. There are three different backness of tongue, three different height of tongue. And each of them can be either tense or lax. So high front vowels are E and I, beat and bit, and U and U, as in boot and boot. Boot. Let's say book. Boot and book. They are spelled the same double O, but this one has a tense high back vowel, U, boot. Try not to be confused with the spelling and phonetic alphabets. It's not but, it's boot. And book is using this flipped omega. It's a high back vowel, but it's a lax version of it. So here, beat and bit is also different. So there are two high front vowels, two high back vowels, either tense or lax. Also, there's a or o and aw, as in phone, bone. Here is it's a pronunciation for jaw, law, or cough. Those pronunciations. This is a low front vowel, as in back, man. And here's a ah sound, like in father, caught, those words. And there are 5 diphthongs. I, ow, as in by, and bow, and boy, bay, and bowl. So there are 5 different diphthongs. So this is the table you learn in the lecture, but this is quite confusing because it's actually we're talking about 2 different accents in a single table. So actually it has to be divided into 2 based on their accents. One of them is General American accent. General American accent is not an actual accent, but it's a kind of ideal accent. It's an average of what majority of American people use and considered as a standard, although we're not talking about actual standard here, but still that's a accent we usually learn in a textbook. The other is Californian accent. We also call it in linguistics, we call it urban coastal accent. There are major differences between these 2 accents in terms of vowels, but they have minimal differences in consonants. Consonants are usually very similar throughout this whole continent. So for General American accent, there is no A or O because they are all diphthongs. So actually, to be fair, we have to say these two diphthongs, A and O, became a monophthong in Californian accent. So I don't personally use Californian accent. So instead of saying Maine, so Maine will be General American accent. Californian accent will pronounce it as something like Maine. So that's the difference. And let's say phone. In General American accent, you will say phone as a diphthong, but in Californian accent, you'll say this as phone. That's the difference. So in California accent, they lost two diphthongs. They have only three diphthongs: I, ow, and oi. And they have two more monophthongs. That is A and O. So that's the difference. Another difference is here. The lax mid back vowel, open O, which is a vowel in words like law or cough. I use this vowel, but in California accent, it is merged completely together with ah sound. So this is called caught merger, because many accents other than Californian, these two are different vowels, like caught and caught. But in Californian accent, you don't say law. You don't say law. You say law. That's a very small difference, but that makes these two vowels merge together into one low back vowel. So if you delete everything here, you can see the important difference is here. Oops. Two diphthongs became monophthong, and one vowel, one monophthong, is completely merged into the other. That's two different vowel tables. As you can see in homework 2, all the transcriptions in homework 2 are based on General American accent. So when you're solving homework 2, try to use this convention, not the Californian one, when you're solving the homework 2. I'm not talking about the whole course. I don't know what's going to happen in other materials, but for at least homework 2, please stick with this first table. How do you type IPAs? You can just Google type IPA, and the first result you get is something like this: ipa.typeit.org. The site looks like this. You can type all the consonants and vowels that you were not able to type using your keyboard, and then you can copy and paste the result. That's how you type IPA. Okay, the pop quiz for this video: how are E and U different, as in beat and boot? Is it high-low distinction, long, short, front, back, or high pitch or low pitch? Respond this in a quiz section. I hope you do it. I strongly encourage you to do it. I just want to keep track of who watched this video. Thank you very much. Have a good day.